Hello, everyone. It's Phil Jones from Projector Reviews, and joining me is Jaime from Elite Screens. Jaime, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Phil. How about yourself?
Elite Screens and their sister companies, EPV Screens and Elite Pro AV Screens, offer a wide range of screen solutions that you can use to optimize the performance of any projector in any environment. And today we're going to be talking about a few of those screens. But before we get started, we have to always thank our sponsor, AV Pro Edge and Meridio, for helping us put on this year's Spring Projection Summit, where we talk about all things dealing with projectors, whether it's the screens, the projectors, and the peripherals. So Jaime, you guys have a huge amount of screens in your lineup. How many different models do you think you have in your lineup of screens?
Hi, Phil. It looks like we have quite a few that range from obviously pull-ups and manuals and electrics and so forth. So I would say a pretty good amount. Like I lost count already.
Yeah. I was on your website, just on the Elite Screens website a few minutes ago, and the options are amazing. And I have reached out to you multiple times for a variety of different applications for reviewers and to utilize at trade shows for companies, for home theaters, and all sorts of different options. But today, we're going to talk about a few of your options, and we're going to talk about one of the biggest challenges when it comes to projectors, and that is dealing with ambient light. Projector is only as good as your lighting control or how you deal with light in a room. Because remember, a projection system is a projector, the screen, and the room, and all three have to kind of work well together. So we're going to be talking about a couple of your materials. And you have a new material that is called StarBright 9. And this is found in a couple of your screens. So can you talk a little bit about this material?
Yes, Phil. The StarBright 9 is an actual retroreflective material which uses a sawtooth structure per the diagram there, and that allows ceiling overhead light to be absorbed, and whatever it touches in that sawtooth structure will reflect it up and absorb it up to 95% of that overhead lighting. It's a very smooth surface, so it's also dark, so it does provide that ocean deep black levels for your projectors in a very challenging room, and has a very good decent viewing angle as well, so that it won't reach half gain until probably about 170 degrees.
So, and like I said, there it's available in a wide range of sizes. A lot of times when these ambient light rejecting screens came out, they were rigid. It came in fully assembled in this gigantic box. Is this one a gigantic rigid screen, or how does it come? Is it one that you assemble? Does it come in a traditional box?
No, this actually, that's a good question. Here in the Sable Frame series, it'll come in a small box that integrators and installers can easily get in their home. They don't have to, rent expensive equipment to get it up to a very
Yeah.
high room or level. It's a very small package, and
Mhm.
it's a split frame design,
Mhm.
so it's very small and convenient. And of course, it'll ship conveniently with FedEx or UPS.
Yeah. And I will tell you, Jaime, I love the split frame design because sometimes when we get project or screens for reviews, the box is like 8 feet, 9 feet long. And if you're dealing with screens that are over 120 inches, it gets really cumbersome really quickly. So
Oh
the
yeah,
fact that it
no.
comes in a split frame, especially because you go up to 156 on this particular screen, it's a lot easier to maneuver that in and set it up. So instead of having those two long ones as one big piece, they are broken into two pieces, which cuts the size of the box in half. And if you look at it, it does a spectacular job in a room compared to matte white. So what are you showing here?
Yeah, so right here we have a room there with overhead light in a bright environment where a lot of gamers obviously want to they don't really like to play in the dark
Mhm,
room environment like home theater, so they like their
mhm,
lights on. And as you can see there, with all that light up above,
mhm.
you're still able to get a very color saturation and color purity remains, and all the colors are still there just because of that layer where it's absorbing all that overhead light
Mhm.
and presenting a very clear contrast rich image.
So great solution for anybody that has a standard throw projector that they want to utilize day or night. But you also have some other options. What is this CineGrey 5D material? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that CineGrade 5D is a different technology. It's an angular reflective, which does not rely on a lenticular structure. It's a specular diffuse kind of screen material, which does have a matrix within the material that has particles that are meant to reflect and some that are meant to absorb light from all angles, from up and down and from the sides. It doesn't rely on the lenticular structure. And as you
Okay.
can see from that picture there, it's perfect for bars or for restaurants or for karaoke night where you need lights and you still want to see the letters or whatever you want to have in the background of your environment. So that's another solution that we have in this brand new series, the Aeon CineGrey 5D.
Okay, so you mentioned there was two ways to do these ceiling light rejecting screens. One was you said the angular reflective, and what was the other one called?
The StarBright 9 material is a retroreflective, which uses a lenticular structure.
Okay, so we have the angular reflective and the lenticular. Why would someone, how do you decide what's the best one for your application? What are some things that someone would think about?
Good question, Phil. Now that would be regarding your installation type. For example, projectors. Projectors are usually for standard throw projectors. You usually have to angle them in a way where the light angle in, angle out theory applies. So that gives you a little bit more of flexibility to where you want to install your projector. Whereas the retroreflective material, based on the structure, that sawtooth structure that you saw, is also a little bit more limited, and you have to be within 5 degrees of the top or the bottom in order for it to properly reflect back. It reflects back at the source.
The other thing too
Exactly.
is I noticed this material, does it have a higher gain than the other material that we were looking at?
Correct. So if you have a challenging room where you need an extra gain, then this material, the CineGrey 5D, would be a better option as well.
Okay. So if you're looking for something that has a steeper angle or you need a higher gain, that would be where you would move up to the CineGrey 5D. So
Exactly.
I was just kind of curious about that. I'm like, why do they have so many different types of ceiling light rejecting materials for projectors? That just goes to show you have to match your screen with your environment and the projector. And this is a classic example of why Elite makes so many screens. I had the opportunity to review this CineGrey 4D material, which can be utilized in floor rising and ceiling motorized mounted screens. So, and I love this material. It does a great job reducing the impact of ambient light on the image in a room. So this is actually taken of a 133-inch screen in one of my meeting rooms. And you can see that it looks great in this room that has a decent amount of ambient light. But what I loved about this thing was, man, I loved how it just rised up and it worked. The picture looked great. But the problem is when it rose up, it hit the center channel. So I was like, what do I do now? And you have a solution for that now, right?
Yes, we do. We just introduced the acoustically transparent version of this material. As you can see there, we have perforations as small as 0.55 millimeters, and that allows the audio enthusiasts to put speakers behind and still have that ambient light rejecting technology and feature without having to turn off the lights. Correct.
I got a question for you. How big
Yes.
can you go with this particular screen?
At the moment, we can go up to 150-inch diagonal, 16 by 9.
Mhm. Okay, because my friend Cam, who works for one of our reviewers, that's one of the things he wants. He always wants it as big as possible, and a lot of times and this allows him to get the biggest screen he possibly can into his particular entertainment center, which would make him a happy camper. So, and of course, with a lot of Elite screens, this one is ISF certified, so you know that it's going to do a great job with color reproduction and things like that. So you are still going to get an outstanding picture What about, like, a lot of times people, when they see these ambient, these acoustically transparent screens, they worry about things like moire. And this material does a good job not having any kind of moire or reducing moire, which is kind of like the rainbow you would see when you're
Yeah, the
looking at gray.
thumbprint kind of fingerprint thing
Mhm.
that, yeah, we used to get tortured by that in the with the 1080p projectors with the
Uh-huh.
bigger
Yeah.
perforations.
Mhm.
So yeah, this does not have any moire effect. It's been tested by our staff with 4K projectors. I mean, you'll still be able to see, the holes just because of the industry standard that SMPTE, I guess, provides
Mhm.
for 4K is how close you need to be,
Mhm.
and that's given. You will see the perforations, but there will be no moire.
So that is really, really cool. And it has like the cool little LED backlight kits and all the stuff that you would see on an Aeon screen to begin with. And I think this is a great piece. Now, the other thing, since we're talking about materials, let's talk a little bit more about these ultra short throw materials. Ultra short throw projectors, or laser TVs, are designed to replace a traditional television. So you should be able to use it day or night. And Elite Screens has a wide range of materials specifically for those types of projectors. And this one is called the StarBright. So can you talk a little bit about the StarBright?
Absolutely, yeah. The CLR, StarBright CLR,
Mhm.
is probably the cream of the crop of the line, and
Mhm.
this material, when you compare it to the CLR3, which is the other product that we have introduced in the other drop down and the other products,
Mhm.
is a zero point 0.6 gain
Mhm.
material with a 180-degree viewing angle.
Mhm.
And that also has a sawtooth structure, which allows it to have a dedicated layer at the top to absorb light from above, overhead lighting, ceiling light rejecting, and a
Mhm.
dedicated bottom layer for the reflected part, which
Mhm.
allows steep light such as a laser or a ultra short throw projector to
Mhm.
provide the best performance for a laser TV projection system.
This material is available in a variety of different solutions, right? So this is called a Starlink. Can you talk a little bit about this screen?
Yes, Phil. Yeah, the starting tab tension with the StarBright CLR, short for CLR here,
Mhm.
is a drop-down electric screen that has been introduced,
Mhm.
and that can go up to 101 and 121-inch diagonal sizes in a 16 by 9 format. And
Mhm.
as you can see in this very challenging room right there,
Mhm.
with all those overhead lights,
Mhm.
that's an actual picture there of that projection system
Mhm.
there, projector, and it's just not being affected as far as contrast goes. It's still retaining a very good picture,
Mhm.
and it's absorbing up to 95% of the light from above. And so,
Mhm.
yes, this is a new drop-down version, which
Mhm.
is available in a black housing and
Mhm.
tab tension system with all the remote controls, radio frequency, and IR, and a detachable wall keypad switch,
Mhm.
free wireless 12-volt trigger, so you can sync it to your projector, and it drops down um, when the projector's turned on, and it goes back up by itself when the projector's turned off.
So these are great for like offices, media rooms, things like that. But one thing about these is you still have to, you got to wall mount them and you got to run the power cord down the wall or get it to the outlet. So I've always been a fan of these types, floor rising screens. I love these things, and Jaime knows that I love them because it's so easy to set up. You basically put it on the floor or on top of a cabinet and you plug it in and you press the button and voila, arise. The screen arises out of the cabinet. So when you talk about the cost of installation, not having just the cost of not having an electrician come and run a power outlet to the up into your wall, is notable. So it's much quicker to set up. Talk a little bit about, so what's this model called? I don't want to butcher it.
That would be the Kestrel tap tension. And that
Okay.
is, Phil, like you mentioned, it's a non-invasive solution. It's not
Hmm.
permanent.
Hmm.
You don't have to, drill wall, holes in your wall to get it installed. You just put it in a credenza or a TV cabinet, a low cabinet,
Mhm,
or just do your own design
mhm,
based on the customer's needs. And
mhm,
yes, it rises from the floor from its case, and it
mhm,
performs just like it should with the ceiling lights above. And
yes.
this is a brand new design that we introduced to the market.
Mhm,
And you can have it in either a black or a white case to
mhm,
fit your interior decor. And it
mhm,
comes, like I said again, with the standard infrared and radio frequency remote controls. And
mhm.
yes, it's a great non-invasive solution, or for somebody that needs to just maybe use it in various rooms. Just take it from one room to room.
And it's tab tension, so it's nice and taut and wrinkle free. So I think it's a great solution. So there's a couple other materials that we got to talk about. So we just talked about this new material, which was StarBright,
Yes,
right?
StarBright CLR.
StarBright CLR. But you also have another material called CLR3.
Yes,
And
that's
so what's the difference? And talk a little bit about the CLR3 material.
Yeah, so the CLR3, Phil, is a slightly higher gain material.
Hmm.
And the way I like to compare these two is high-end LCD CLR3, OLED
Hmm. Okay.
CLR.
Okay.
And with that, and it's better to just kind of see it,
Okay. Hold
where
on a
you
second.
see
Let
the
me bring up.
black one.
Yes.
You see how the
Uh-huh.
CLR material is just more blacker, and it has you,
Yes.
as you mentioned, it
Hmm.
does provide deeper blacks. So
Hmm.
even in a cinema room, this would
Hmm.
probably be the screen to go with if you are a videophile and you want to get deeper blacks.
Hmm.
But the CLR3 is also a very good choice if you
Hmm.
just want performance for TV, watching TV, or just watching your sports, where
Hmm.
you don't really focus on the black levels
Hmm.
improvement, but you still want to get a very good picture quality and the ceiling light rejecting absorbing feature of
Exactly.
the
And
product.
if you have any questions about what material would work best for your projector, Elite Screens or your dealer will be happy to work with you to determine what's the best solution for your particular application. Because if I have a question, I just call this guy, and his team has always been very good at helping me pick the right piece for my particular application. I've done reviews on CLR3. You can check out the review on projectorreviews.com of the Aeon CLR3 series screen that we did. There's also a video on it on YouTube, which you can also check out. And this screen is now Cam Valentine's, who's one of my reviewers, reference screen for doing laser TV reviews because he can utilize it with all laser TV models that he does. So it's nice to have a consistent screen that he can utilize for all of his reviews. And this is actually a shot from his room with a decent amount of ambient light. You could read and everything else, but the picture was nice and vivid, and you can see how nice that actually looks. So I actually think this material is excellent. And guess what? Just like when we talked about the other ambient light material, this one is also available in a motorized version that is motorized from the ceiling and motorized from the floor. And you just tell those guys what your applications are, and they will find the right screen for you. Is that correct, Jaime?
That is correct, Phil. The CLR3 is also available in exactly what you had mentioned, and a drop-down electric version with the same features
Mm-hmm.
as far as the remote controls and how to install it flush wall to the ceiling or flush wall to the wall, or you can ceiling suspend it with those D-rings that are included.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a drop-down version. And yes, the also the Kestrel type, which is the floor rising one. And as you can
Mm-hmm.
see here, the CLR3 material did an excellent job in a boardroom environment where it has that slight increase in gain,
Mm-hmm.
does help with that direct light right from above. So you can replace your conventional TV glaring solutions with a laser TV solution.
We could talk about your screens forever because you have, like we said, dozens and dozens and dozens of them. But I do want to talk about a few other unique ones that people keep asking me about. A big buzz right now, of course, is sports simulation, golf simulators. Seems like every place you go, there's golf simulators that are showing up, popping up at bars and restaurants and even hotels. but you can't just take a regular screen and hit a golf ball at it. It's not going to be very, very happy.
No, not.
So of course, Elite Screens has an application for those sports enthusiasts that are looking for a golf simulation application. So can you talk a little bit about this guy?
Yes, absolutely. This is a brand new product that we're very excited about. A lot of customers have asked us about this particular solution, and it took us a little while, but we have just released the Sport Simulation DIY Screen Series, which is a do-it-yourself material, which we call Impact White 1145. And the 1145 just basically highlights the weight of the material. It's an internal thing. But this particular material is designed with 3 layers, and each layer has its role. You know, the first one is going to focus on taking the impact from a golf ball and or any other sports equipment that you want to throw at it. And then the middle layer, which is meant to suppress the sound and obviously the impact. And then the last layer is also something that also helps the overall structure, just keeps it nicely tightened together. And so this particular material here is, as I mentioned, a 3-layer, and I have a picture of it there, but
Okay,
also
hold on a second.
right here
So
as
let's
well.
look at it. Okay.
And as you can see here, it's like a sandwich. There's 3 layers there, and the front material, because we're a projection screen company, we always want to focus on assuring that the projection quality is as best as possible. And then the second stuff, it would be the sport simulation attributes and characteristics. But that would be the 3-layer material here, the 1145 impact white material. And that is something that we have been working on for a while, and it's, like I mentioned, it's now available. And we would we're just waiting for the right moment, and perfect timing.
Sports simulation is getting more and more popular. So of course we talked about golf. Jaime said basically anything you want to kick or throw at it. And a lot of projector companies now are starting to make projectors specifically designed kind of for the sport simulation applications. And the one thing I noticed about it, Jaime, is normally we would give them a diagonal size, but because of what we're talking about here, they're not listed as traditional 16 by 9 diameter sizes. You have them listed here at what different 8 by 10, 10 by 8.5. So it's more about how much room you have on your wall versus the diagonal. So I think it's a little easier for people who are sports enthusiasts to think this way, right?
That is correct, Phil. The cut on our materials allow us to provide, the best bang for your buck, I guess you would say. You best utilize these cuts for that particular application. And the bigger the better, so that you can utilize this material to your particular application based on the resolution and the native aspect ratio that your projector presents.
It's a very approachable price. Now, do you get the whole system you're showing there? What do you get in addition to the screen? Do you get like the scrim and all of that stuff and the mounting and everything for
No,
this?
not this one. Not this one, Phil. Mainly the technology it would be the 3-layer material with the resistance of the impact, and you will only get the material with the grommets ready for your own DIY solution. So you probably be responsible just for getting a frame system and the netting.
I was just curious because the framing, yeah, you could pretty much jerry rig that pretty quickly. There's a lot of pipe framing solutions available on Amazon. And
Yeah.
so that does kind of give you lots and lots of flexibility. Okay, so that is a cool application. People hear golf simulators and they think thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, but could you do a cool kind of golf simulator for a couple of grand? We actually just did a article about our favorite picks for outdoor screens. And one of the screens that I always recommend, people call me and say, what screen should I buy? Over Easter, I was sitting around drinking a beer with a guy, and he was like, he bought this projector I told him to buy, but he had a blow up. And I said, oh, you're not gonna like the blow up. It's gonna drive you crazy. And then he came back and we were sitting around. He goes, I need a new screen. And I was like, why? He was like, because the blow up, the fan is running and it's noisy and it's saggy. What should I buy? So I was like, how big do you want to go? And he said, I want to go gigantic. So I said, the one you want, a good high quality screen that's portable, that can be set up quickly, is a Yarmaster 2. I have a 53, a 75, and a 95-inch Yarmaster 3 just in my own catalog. And he was like, you should go buy this. But it is kind of heavy. A 95-inch screen and with all of the aluminum framing can be a little stocky. So you guys have a new solution, right?
Yes, we do, Phil, and that would be the Yarmaster Light. This is a
Mhm.
very lightweight, as the name refers it to, and that's
Mhm.
because it's a tube frame. It's a hollow tube frame. It's still aluminum and it's still thick, but it's not as
Mhm.
heavy.
Mhm.
And we can go up to 125 inch in a 16:9 aspect ratio.
Mhm.
And as you can see from the bag size right there, it only weighs 8 pounds, and
Mhm.
the longest is 32.7 inches. And
Mhm.
this is a very cool solution for those that want a quick setup, and they have maybe a very good little projector that they
Mhm.
want to just carry in, and they don't want to lug a big, full-size projector. They can just carry with them just a small projector that has a decent amount of lumens,
Mhm.
and you can either project from the back or from the
Mhm.
front. That's the
Yeah.
cool feature about this little product here. And it comes
Mhm.
with your stakes and your
Mhm.
tethering ropes
Mhm.
and a couple water bags to help it,
Mhm.
for better support and stability.
I will tell you, the water bag thing is brilliant, by the way, because the whole thing we're talking about is the fact that you want it to be light, right?
Yeah,
And I find myself, you carry your screen, you set the whole thing up, the big heavy frame, it's got the bigger legs, keep from being tipped over, and then just in case, you carry, 50 pounds of sandbags. So now, and so the whole, so yeah, and this solves that. It's like, how do I carry the weights without carrying the weight? You get
yeah,
to the campsite, you fill up the water bags, and you use the water bags instead of sandbags to keep it stable. So between, like you said, the spikes in the grass and the water bags, you can have a pretty stable thing. But when you pack it up, your 8-year-old son can carry the bag back to the car. So I think this Yardmaster Lite is an excellent solution. So I need to add it to our cool projection screens for the year. I'm going to actually add this, Jaime, because I think this
sweet.
is really, really cool. So lots and lots of selections. And of course, there are tons and tons of more traditional screens. So if you're someone that wants a matte white screen or things like that, there's other options. So this is called the VMAX Tab Tension, right?
That is correct, Phil, and that would be another very reachable, affordable tab tension projection screen that we just launched as well. And
Mhm.
this material is also ISF certified, and
Mhm.
as you can see from the pictures there, it has the ability to also be installed with an optional 6-inch L brackets
Mhm.
for if you need to clear a chalkboard or a TV, or if you want a corner install it, for example.
Mhm.
So that's
Mhm.
very unique of this product as well. And it's tab tension, as you can see there from the pictures,
Mhm.
and it provides you with a great picture
Mhm.
in a control room environment.
So, like I said, we could go forever talking
Yeah, we
about
could.
his screens. So, if you have any questions or you're looking for more screens, Jaime, where should they go?
Thank you, Phil. They can go at www.elitescreen.com. And if you have any questions on any of the products, you can email us at info@elitescreens.com.
Jaime, thank you for your time. Hopefully, you guys have seen some of the cool new solutions from Elite Screens, and you may see one that would work perfectly for your application. So, thank everybody for listening. Take care, and we will talk to you soon.